And all digital Dungeons and Dragons? AI Dungeon Masters? Let's run down some of the wild rumors circulating about the future of Dungeons and Dragons.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
You probably heard the news last week about the leaked plans for Wizards of the Coast's open gaming license, which led to a wholesale revolt by the D&D community and third-party publishers. We know, thanks to IO9's Linda Codega, that plans to radically alter the OGL with a royalty scheme and license-backed language were only halted at the last moment when over 10,000 people canceled their D&D Beyond subscriptions. So why D&D Beyond? Why were these subscriptions so important to Wizards of the Coast that they backed down on their plans for the OGL? Well, apparently, it's at the heart of Wizards' future plans for Dungeons & Dragons. Since then, more rumors about Wizards' future plans have hit the internet, passed along by Dungeon Scribe and supported by D&D Shorts and Nerd Immersion. We know that D&D Shorts has received information from employees at Wizards of the Coast, as he was one of the folks who was pushing people to unsubscribe to D&D Beyond at the behest of an anonymous Wizards employee who said that this would make a difference and convince the Hasbro executives who were apparently leading the charge to change the OGL to change their mind. Now, before we continue, I will note that comicbook.com has not been able to confirm any of this with our sources. We've heard the rumors, and we've had several trusted tabletop RPG sources tell us that they're legit, but we have not spoken to anyone who can independently corroborate any of these rumors. And while I'm personally doubtful about some of these rumors, to be blunt, I was also doubtful about the OGL rumors, and well, look how those turned out. So let's talk about some of what is allegedly coming to D&D Beyond and Dungeons & Dragons. The main rumor is that D&D Beyond will introduce a new $30 per month subscription plan, which will include monthly content drops. Now, lower subscription tiers will not include the ability to use or access any sort of homebrew content. Dungeon Scribe, who was the main source of this rumor, also notes that there will be a stripped-down gameplay version of Dungeons & Dragons that will enable the use of AI Dungeon Masters in some way, likely in conjunction with this upcoming virtual tabletop that Wizards of the Coast is planning to roll out for Dungeons & Dragons in 2024. Of course, the AI Dungeon Masters is probably the most eyebrow-raising part of this rumor, as it makes Dungeons & Dragons feel more like a computer game than any sort of real collaborative experience. It also touches on some of the controversies that surrounds AI, which have already kind of intersected into tabletop RPGs. Chaosium has already pledged not to use AI artwork in their products, and Paizo is reportedly doing the same. So our question with this is, does Wizards really want to be on the other side of the AI issue?
It will never be safe.
Plus, a $30 a month subscription tier is frankly an unsustainable price tier. Even if you purchase every D&D book that comes out in a year, you're still only paying $250 a year to get all of the D&D material. Even if this supposed tier comes with some extra D&D material in addition to whatever books they release, Wizards is still only aiming at high-end players, instead of the average player who might only spend, I don't know, like $50, $100 or less on the game. One of D&D's biggest strengths is that it is an accessible game. Taking that away opens the door for other games to become the more price-efficient option. And let's be clear, there are a lot of publishers and a lot of games that now are pointing at Dungeons & Dragons and looking to take a piece of that pie. So if this $30 a month tier is real, it explains why Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast is so apt to get rid of the OGL. They're looking to divert the money that DMs and other high-end players spend on third-party content over to their proprietary VTT service and their more expensive D&D Beyond service. So the question is, why would any third-party publisher want to go and support D&D at all? Because unless those third-party publishers want to use whatever option that allows their work to be compatible with this new D&D VTT, which I'm assuming is some sort of DM's Guild replacement or some sort of extension of the DM's Guild, there's just not very much economic sense to try to compete with this walled garden version of D&D that Wizards of the Coast is allegedly trying to create, especially when so many other publishers are opening up their games. Now, that's not the only rumor that's out there. We've heard for months that One D&D will be all digital, with no physical content whatsoever. Now, I am personally very skeptical about this rumor as well, mainly because we know for a fact that Wizards makes a ton of money off of physical book sales, off of Amazon and game stores, and the owners of those game stores would, frankly, they would riot. You don't want one of the main places that people play D&D at to totally turn against your game, especially given that so many of these stores serve as the hub for local D&D play. Plus, I just really can't see Wizards not wanting to release some sort of 50th anniversary mega box set. I mean, Wizards of the Coast likes to make money, and the 50th anniversary of D&D is coming up. Why wouldn't D&D come out with a physical D&D box set? But even though I don't think that One D&D is going to go all digital, could I see Wizards increasingly turning to more and more digital releases? Absolutely. We've already seen that. We've already seen that with the monstrous compendiums that are released for free on D&D Beyond. And these were provided for free for a limited time. D&D Beyond even posted a stat block of one of Dungeons & Dragons' most popular villains ever, Vecna. Vecna, who was the main bad guy of Critical Role Campaign 1, who is, the named monster in Stranger Things. And they released that monster as a digital-only stat block. Wizards of the Coast is clearly testing the water for more digital-only content. Now, let's keep in mind, this is all just rumors for now, and some of them, frankly, are a little hard to believe. Like, do I believe that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, sees value in the digital future of Dungeons & Dragons? Absolutely. Do I think that they are going to totally turn away from physical sales? Probably not. The question is, would Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro really risk one of their prized brands in that way? Well, honestly, I guess we'll just have to find out in the coming months. Let us know what you think about these rumors, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.